are so close to finishing, I can taste it. Okay, it's at this point we can move on to either the arm edging or finishing the neck. I like to finish the neck first and then save the arms for the very last. So that's what I'm going to do. The first thing we want to do is pick up and knit stitches all along the back of our neck. So that way we have stitches that we can connect to with our garter stitch bind off. Let me show you how to do this. Here we go. I have the back of the sweater facing me with the right side. And I want to start right up here at the right shoulder. And I'm going to pick up and knit stitches all the way around back over here. And then I'm going to cut my yarn and finish off, right? Finish off with that yarn. So what I need to do here is I'm going to pick up 2 stitches for every 3 rows as I'm working down rows. But as I'm working across stitches, I want to pick up 1 stitch for every stitch. The only place I want to be careful is when I'm here in this corner. When we start doing our garter stitch bind off and we get to this corner, we want to make sure we have enough stitches picked up so that the corner looks good. It's not like separated and sparse, but we might end up doing like more than just a knit 2 together here to make sure that this curves in and not out. Because if we don't, if we have too many stitches on that portion of our vest, when you put it on, your collar is going to actually stick up. Okay, so you'll quickly notice if that's the case, you're going to be like, nope, this isn't good, and you're going to have to rip back. Okay, so you want to pay attention to that. But what we want to do now is go ahead and grab your needles that you used, right? Used for your project. Grab some yarn. Okay, more than just scrap yarn. I'm going to use actual yarn, and let's pick up and knit the stitches. You're going to pick up and knit until it looks good. Like there's not a set number. You can pick up as many or as few as you want. You just want it to look good. 2 stitches for every 3 rows, and then 1 stitch for every bind off. All right, let me show you what I'm doing. Here is my shoulder seam, and I'm going to start right up here. I'm going to place my needle right here at my seam, okay? And grab my new yarn over my needle, and pull up a loop. So I've picked up and knit. So that's 1 stitch for 1 row. Here's another stitch for 1 row. So that's 2 rows. So then I'll skip that one and I'll come down here. So there's 1 and 2. Now this one down here, I'm supposed to skip this one and come to this one, but that one's really big and fat. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to this one, skip the bigger one, and come down here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to see what that looks like. To me, that looks good, right? That looks good. I just would pause and I just look at it. Now I'm to each of my stitches, right? So for each of my bound off stitches, I want to pick up 1 stitch. So I will go through each of these and pick up and knit. Okay. And then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to skip that kind of elongated one. I'm going to come down here. And I mean, if this doesn't turn out the way you like it, like if you're like, I don't like the way I pick these up, they're kind of unsightly, whatever you think they are, you can always just redo this. You don't have to keep this in place. You can just rip this out and have another go. Okay, so I'm just going to pause, take a look. I don't mind that. I don't really like right there that I have those kind of bumps, those purl bumps right there. I don't really like that. So I think I'm going to rip back and I'm going to go underneath those bumps. So for me, I would rip back here. And I will go, let's see, I think it starts right there. I'm going to go right into the stitches. Remember, our stitches are those V's. So I'm just going right into the V. Oh, that looks much better. That looks much better. And then I'll pop down here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. see what that looks like so far. Yeah, that looks so much better. So now I'm working across my original bind offs for the back of my neck. So I just work across these, right? So I'm going to go into each of my stitches. And remember, from your seaming, the stitch looks like a V. So if you go right into the V, you'll know exactly where you are. It might take a little bit to just identify it. That's okay. You're not in a race. Even though it feels like it. It feels like you're so close to the end. You just want to get it done. Trust me, I understand more than anybody else. I mean, this is my second one I've knit. And this one took me a little bit longer than the first one because I took some time off for a holiday. And so feel like I've been knitting this forever. But it's nearly done. It's nearly done. And I'm very excited about that. All right, let's keep going here. This is one of those things like you really have to eyeball it to make sure you're not picking up too many or too few. Like if you're getting big old gaps, that's going to be too few. If it looks like you're crowding with a bunch of stitches, then clearly you have too many. Just kind of just pick them up. Like I said, if you just do one pickup for each stitch and then one or two stitches for every 3 rows, everything should work out pretty well for you. Let's see here. You're doing this with the right side facing you because then you have that little trim right there is going to be on the inside, so it won't be visible. Okay. You know, what we're really doing here is we're picking up these stitches so that we can work an applied garter stitch. Sort of like an applied I-cord, but it's a garter stitch. So as you are working through here, just remember that this is really your base that you will then connect your I-cord. I keep wanting to say I-cord, your garter stitch to with a knit two together. That's what you will use to join the garter stitch that we're going to be doing to this piece here that we have just picked up and knit. All right, so now I'm working along rows again here, right? So I'm going to do 2 stitches for every 3 rows. And I think that's good. That's 1, 2. Yep. Make sure they're nice and the way you want them to be, right? Everything look good? Everything look good to you? I'm going to put all this on the cord and just take a peek. Make sure I don't have any gapes. It's right here that I'm saying when we do our knit 2 together, maybe we do a knit 4 together right here just to bring that close so it doesn't gape open. Yeah, I think I'm pleased with this. I think this looks good. I think this looks real good. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I will cut this yarn and I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail so that way I can weave it in. I know that seems contrary, but now I come back over here and this is my right front shoulder. Remember, we have these stitches on hold. Okay, we have these stitches on hold. We're going to place these stitches on our needle. So bring our needle up. And we're going to put all of these stitches on our needle. One, two, three, 4. Okay, 4 stitches on our needle. If you have this still attached to yarn, great, you can keep going. Otherwise, we are going to join new yarn. And And I'm going to join new yarn with, I'm going to stick with kind of the purple. I don't know about you guys, I have like so many balls of yarn that are partials, so that way I could try and line up the colors the best I could. But let's see here. I want to make sure that I have an area in the video that I can separate out. So we just picked up our stitches along the back of our neck. Now we're going to do the garter stitch bind off, which is like an applied garter stitch. And that's going to allow us to take the garter stitch that we did along the fronts and have it continue along the back. So yeah. All right, so I have my yarn here, right? And I'm going to knit across 3 stitches. So I will knit across 3 stitches. Notice I finished on a wrong side row over here. So as I'm starting off, it's like I'm continuing on my garter stitch. So I knit 3 stitches and now I'm going to knit 2 together. So I'm knitting the 4th stitch from my garter stitch and the 1st stitch that I did pick up. So I'm going to do a knit 2 together. See that? And then turn, right? We're going to turn and we're going to knit back. Okay, and then turn. And we do all that again. We knit 3. And knit 2 together. Okay, then we turn and knit back. Now, you know me. I don't want to turn, right? I'm going to work backwards. But essentially, because I want this in garter stitch, I don't want to purl backwards. I'm actually going to knit backwards. So think of it this way. Let's look at our needles as we are going to knit. So if I turn and I were to knit this, I'd put my needle in like so. I'm just going to stop there. I'm going to turn my needles back. So what it looks like is I'm going to work backwards. I'm going to take my left-hand needle and go into the back leg coming forward like a purl. And then I want to take my yarn here, and do I want to put it like this or like this, right? So let's pay attention again. So it goes like this. So it goes underneath. You see that? It goes underneath. So I'm essentially like going back and forth, paying attention to what it takes, what it looks like on this side when I'm knitting. And so I don't have to turn, bring my yarn forward, go into the back leg and come forward. Okay. Go the long way around, right? The long way around and jump over. You can still turn and knit if that's what you want to do. But when we're doing such a low number of stitches, I find it easier not to have to turn all the time. So now I'm back here, bring my yarn back, and I'm just continuing this garter stitch. So I'm going to keep doing this all the way around. Let me go ahead and I'm going to get to right here. So let's get a couple more stitches. So we're coming down. This is the back of my sweater. If this feels like it's spreading out too much and not coming in, what I can do is instead of just doing a knit 2 together with 1 stitch, I could do like a knit 3 together. Okay, so you're going to have to use your own judgment on your own vest for this, right? But just take a look at how, like, is it starting to look like it's flaring a little bit? Does it look good? To me, mine still looks good. I'm not concerned about it flaring. So I would keep going the way what mine is, but you can decide if right here, and it's right here at this corner, if you wanted to do like a knit 3 together instead of a knit 2, just to kind of, cinch it in a little bit. Does that make sense? Okay. What I want you to do is go ahead and continue on around the neck all the way until you get to the other shoulder. When you get to the other shoulder, join me back here. We're going to seam together our live stitches with our other live stitches on the other side of our neck, and then we move on to the arm. And that's it. All right, go do yours. I'm going to work on mine, and I'll see you back in a minute.